Hello, welcome to the third episode of Cocktails and Controllers. I am Kennedy, I am your host. This is Marisa, also your host. Today we are covering Life is Strange Captain Spirit, which is the pre-sequel to Life is Strange 2. But it was a tie-in. And it's a shorter game, so it's played, I guess, in one chapter. It's a standalone. Considering that, there will be spoilers for Life is Strange 2 in this episode, so please be aware of that. We'll try not to delve too much into Life is Strange 2, saving that for the next episode. But we'll do our best to tell you all the tie-ins so that you kind of know what to look out for if you decide to play this on your own.
Also, this is being recorded on my phone. The power's out right now. So if you see my weird fan come into frame, it's just me trying not to die.
Yeah, because it is, 100-something degrees today?
110 at least. It's supposed to be like 115 this entire week.
Yeah. Arizona life, y'all.
Wait, what are you drinking?
Yes, what am I drinking? So I am doing a combination of drinks today. So I'm starting off with my prickly pear vodka mixed with a Dr. Pepper cream soda that I found at the store yesterday. Kind of wanted to try it because I was like, this might be good, and I'm a fan of cream sodas. Alcohol, you can't really go wrong there. You can go wrong with alcohol, just saying. But in this combination, I've had a sip of it. It's already really good. And for my shots today, I am doing the Captain Morgan Loco Nut, which says delicious coconut shot. Also, I have just been wonderfully informed by Marisa that this is a scratch and sniff bottle, and I'm very delighted by that. So I will be doing shots out of that in, of course, my customary boob glass.
Nice. You? I have my Smirnoff Ice, a can of that. I also am trying the prickly pear vodka, but with Coke. I was trying to find Sprite because you said that it was good, but all we have is Diet Sprite, and I really don't want to drink Diet because don't like it.
Tastes different.
But yeah, also I've already drank like half of this.
Getting a head start.
And then I have my Fireball in my Zarya shot glass.
Perfect.
For the shot.
Oh my god, that's good. First of all, not only is that really good, I can't taste the alcohol in that.
Oh, I was just about to ask if it was dangerous.
It's dangerous. It's very dangerous. I think I'm going to stick with my theme of doing, I guess, like, cream... No. No. That's not a good word. I think I'm going to stick doing, like, cream-based liquors for my shots. That could have gone in such a wrong direction.
I really wanted you to say it.
I caught myself halfway through that. Nope, not today. All right, let me just pour myself another shot to get over that embarrassment. The official game summary from Square Enix. Have you ever dreamt of being a superhero? Meet Chris, a creative and imaginative 9-year-old boy who escapes reality with fantastical adventures as his alter ego, the awesome Captain Spirit. Captain Spirit is a free demo set in the Life is Strange universe that contains links to the brand new story and characters of Life is Strange 2. Our story starts out, and it's a very wonderful wintry day. It's a Saturday, and our protagonist, in the sense, you get to play as 9-year-old Chris, and he envisions himself as a superhero called Captain Spirit. So there's a lot of ways that this story can go, and it all ties into Life is Strange 2 in really subtle ways. And the most prominent of them is Chris himself as Captain Spirit. One of the first things you do is you take out your notebook and you start to draw. And you get to draw yourself in a costume, and you have different options to pick from. You can do a helmet or a mask. You can do colorful you can do a colorful costume or a darker costume. And no matter what you pick, if you also play Life is Strange 2 Chris will show up in that costume, which I think is a really cute little tie-in there. And I think that when you do it and you're playing it before you actually play the whole game or knowing nothing about it, then I think most people tend to go for the lighter options, in which case I did that as well. So I picked the mask where he has like blue So I picked the mask where he has blue face paint, and then I chose the bright colorful colors and then the light armor. So it was really fun when I was playing Life is Strange 2 to see Chris show up and me seeing him being, oh, that's the costume that I picked. That's the costume that I helped create. And so after you finish drawing, you are assigned a quest. There's a bunch of mini quests in this game, but your main one being to find the components to create your costume. And as you're doing this, it introduces a new aspect of gameplay that we didn't see before in the other Life is Strange games, which is timing. And so this game adds in that realism of you can't just go around and explore without having consequences. As you're in your room and you're exploring all these types of things, Chris's father, which, fun fact, he's actually also voiced by the same guy who plays Frank.
What?
Right? So Frank and Chris's dad, what's his name? Charles. Weird. So Chris's dad, Charles, is also the same voice actor who plays Frank, which is really interesting. And I'm not sure if that was intentional, which I'm sure it was. But so far, what I know, there is no correlation between Frank and Charles. I think the creators really liked his voice actor. I think that's what it was.
That's fair.
As you're exploring Chris's room, Charles will call you for breakfast. And you can either go out right away to the kitchen and you sit down and have breakfast, or you can ignore him and keep exploring the room. But if you do ignore him, then Charles will insist that you have breakfast, and then there's a point where you can't ignore him any longer and you have to go and have breakfast.
I think that's what happened to me the first time. I don't know. I played it like 3 times, and yeah, I think that's what happened. I'm pretty sure I ignored him.
Yeah, I ignored him the first time as well, just because I was thinking, it's just a game. I can explore as much as I want to, until he got mad at me for ignoring him. And that's when I was thinking, oh, this is new. Okay, there's more immediate consequences to your actions of being a player. It's got a sense of realism to it. So,
Childhood simulator.
Right? It's like games that have starvation mechanics, despite the fact that I starve in games after like 30 minutes. I'm like, that's not how starvation works, but okay. Fallout 76.
That Minecraft life.
So either way, you end up in the kitchen with Chris and his father has made eggs, and you have an option while you're eating breakfast to pour yourself some milk. And of course, this is kind of where you're introduced to Chris fully delving into the idea that he's a superhero. Yeah. So you see him using like the force and be like, "Meow," which it also helps that they add in the camera movements where you see the camera shaking and you can see things levitating, and then you see in a wider cut of it that Chris is moving things with his other hand. And of course, like as a child, he's pretending that he has superpowers. And this is also where we're introduced to a little bit of Chris and Charles' backstory. Because one of the first things that you get to make as an interaction with Charles is you can tell him that the eggs are good, or that he misses his mother's. And if you pick the option that he misses his mother's, you will get a very small cutscene where Charles explains that they're both grieving and they miss his mother. But at this point, you don't really know what's happened to her. And I think it's heavily implied that she dies, because of course it's Life is Strange and mothers can't just like leave on their own. They have to die. Or parental figures in general, they're just dead. So this is kind of the so this is kind of the first indication that you get that Charles is not the healthiest person in the world, and he's not exactly the greatest father in the world, and that's based on the fact that as he's serving breakfast to Chris, he's drinking beer. And this is not kind of like a nondescript, he's probably drinking soda type of thing. This is very clearly beer that he's drinking. And it's kind of obvious. If hopefully if you're over 21, you will recognize a 6-pack. And what that looks like. Charles is probably an alcoholic, and it's probably due to his wife's either death, divorce, whatever it is. But spoiler alert, she died. She died in a car accident.
Not funny. I'm sorry. I was laughing at your spoiler alert.
Yes. Spoiler alert, she dies in a car accident. Which, first of all, can we address the fact that Life is Strange they've got some issues with putting parents in cars and parents.
Honestly, yeah.
William from the first Life is Strange games dies in a car accident. Chris's mother also dies in a car accident. Spoilers for Life is 2. He does not die in a car accident, but there are similarities there.
There's scenes in cars.
Cars is a thing. Got some issues.
That's where.
Oh wait, Deck 9 did Before the Storm. They got some issues there. That's fine. So anyway, you learn a little bit more about Chris's mother, Emily, during this breakfast conversation. The fact that she makes sunny side eggs, and that they both really loved her. You can tell in the way that they talk about her. I think maybe Chris, unlike Chloe, was able to properly grieve his mother. And I think because of that, he's a little bit more okay to talk about her. They don't shy away from the fact that she is gone. And I think that's something that you don't see very often in games. I feel like most protagonists, or specifically the parents of child protagonists, will just ignore the fact that their spouse has died or someone significant in their life has died. And they just kind of tend to compartmentalize, shove it in a drawer, and then they ignore that it's happened, you know? So I think I really appreciate that in Captain Spirit, they chose not to go down that path of hiding that very obvious empty member in their household.
How old is Chris supposed to be?
I think he's 9 years old. So another thing that happens during breakfast is that Charles is the one who brings up the fact that there are bruises on Chris's arm. And through dialogue, it's not very subtle. In my personal opinion, I don't think it's very subtle that it's Charles who's the one who made the bruises on Chris's arm. Because he starts out with saying, "I'm sorry that and then he goes, "that you had to endure something so painful," or something to that effect. But there is that little slip up that Charles gives that says, okay, there's a really large possibility that maybe he's abusing his son, which becomes a theme later on. So then as soon as breakfast is done, or I guess in the middle of breakfast, Chris wants to know, well, it's Saturday, so of course there's got to be big plans for Saturday. What are they going to do? And so Charles brings up that he wants to watch the game, and Chris happens to mention that he wants a real Christmas tree this year. Because they used to have it when his mom was around, and he wants to keep a little bit of that Christmas magic going. So Charles agrees to it, and that's where he says, we'll go, but after I watch the game. Which, fun fact, in-game means 23 real life hours, 23 real life minutes. So you have, essentially, in the game, 23 minutes to explore and do whatever you want in the game. And you can
I didn't realize that.
Variety of things doing that. Actually, I had to learn that on the side, that it was 23 minutes.
Yeah, I was like, I don't think, like, I played it 3 times, and I don't think I ever noticed that it was actually 23 minutes.
Yeah.
That's weird. That's wild. What happens if you, like, use up the 23 minutes? Do you die?
No, I think when the 23 minutes starts, it triggers the next, I guess the next event in the game, which is Claire coming over to the house.
Oh!
Yep.
That's the grandma, right?
Yeah.
Okay, maybe I did... Maybe I did run out with my 23 minutes. I didn't realize. Did not know that.
I for sure
New facts. TIL. Today I learned.
Yep. So, backtracking back to Chris's mother, because you'll find little tidbits and hints of her throughout the house. If you fully explore the house, you'll be able to snag tidbits of what their life was like when she was around. And you kind of start to find out that Charles and Emily got married really young, had Chris, and they were a wonderful, loving couple. And you find out that Charles used to be this basketball player, and he really loved doing it. And it's kind of also hinted upon that Chris kind of admires that fact about his father, because you can see in his bedroom he's got one of those little play hoops and a little basketball that he can throw. And you also find Chris's Christmas list. Christmas.
His Christmas.
No.
Christmas.
Not going down that route. So you find out that Chris is semi into basketball because you find his Christmas list. And one of the things at the bottom of his list says basketball lessons, and his comment to that is, "Oh, I'm sure Dad would like this." And I think that's his attempt at getting closer to his father, trying to forge that relationship. But the thing is, Chris also likes art, and you can also see that on his walls, where he has a bunch of drawings of Captain Spirit and like Mandroid, all of his superhero fan things, I suppose. Fan art. Chris draws fan art. Let's just call it that. That's what it is at this point. He likes Hot Dog Man, which there's a mini game where you can.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Hot Dog Man. I am very bad at those types of games, so I did not get very far before he rage quit about that. So there's that. And you can also find out, here's what I think is interesting. You can also find out that Charles is seeing a dancer from an adult club. And I think you, as the player, figured that out, but I don't think Chris does. I think he's a little too young to understand that. Obviously, he's 9, but it's very clearly something that his father's hiding, and I think you, as a player, know that. And that adds to Charles's character. And I feel like, I don't remember this entirely, I feel like that's something that you can address in Life is Strange 2 when you're playing as Sean. That might not be correct. It's probably not.
I don't remember.
Right?
Yeah, I don't even think I found that flyer. You're supposed to find a flyer to find that out.
I think it's when you're in Charles' bedroom that you can search through all the drawers and things like that. I'm 80% sure that's how you find it. I don't remember at all, because it's been a very long time since I played this game.
Yeah, I just remember, isn't there like you can use a record player or something in his room? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Charles will comment on things that you do. For example, after breakfast, Charles goes down to sit and watch the game. You can choose to make him macaroni and cheese. And if you do, if you leave it in the microwave, he'll comment on the fact that it's left in the microwave. He'll say, "Are you using the microwave? What are you using that for?" Or there's an opportunity where you get to use the phone in the house, and you have a sticky note, and it tells you the 3 most important people that you can call. And it's number 1 being the pizza place, Number 2 is the next door neighbors, which are the Reynolds, which you will see them again in Life is Strange 2. And then the third one is, of course, Charles's cell phone. You can call all 3 numbers and they have varying responses. The Reynolds, if you call them, Chris will ask Claire if Steven, who's her husband, if he can come and help build the tree house in the backyard or add to it.
Cute.
It's a very sweet interaction, and that's also the first time, I think, where you understand that the Reynolds aren't completely ignorant of the way that Charles treats his son. Because Claire will ask if Chris is okay. And of course, Chris being Chris will say that he's fine, and he was just wondering if Steven will come over and help with the treehouse. And then there's, if you call the pizza place, they'll be closed because it's before noon, and I think their opening hours start at 11 o'clock. So that also kind of gives you a sense of the timing of, hey, something's not right with Charles by the fact that he's drinking before 11 o'clock in the morning. And then if you call Charles's phone, then it just rings, and that's it.
Because this is like, he's already asleep at this point, right? On the couch?
I think so. For my gameplay, I think he was still watching. I think he's just chilling there, because at this point I hadn't brought him the macaroni and cheese yet in my personal gameplay, and I know he was awake for it.
I don't think I ever brought him food.
Oh! I know you can.
Is that required?
Macaroni, like, I think you can find macaroni somewhere in the kitchen and you can choose to make it for him. I think it's just an optional cutscene that you can do. Because I feel like everything you do in this game is optional.
I must have skipped that all 3 times.
I for sure made him macaroni because I knew that there was going to be something that happened with it. Wasn't sure what it was, but I did.
Yeah, fair.
And I know Charles falls asleep sometime after that, because I know you have to wake him up at some point. There's a number of small tasks that you can complete in the kitchen, or in the bathroom, or everywhere in the house. There's like a small thing that you can complete, and one of them is you can do the laundry, you can do the dishes, but all the while you're trying to find items for Chris's costume. And I know the route that I chose was to do the lighter costume with the blue face paint, so I remember I had to go around the house trying to find all of that.
I played it, like I said, like 3 times, but I don't even think I changed any of the options that I picked any of the 3 times that I played it. Because I feel like there's not really a lot of options to make. It's just a lot of going around and doing everyday stuff. I think I did do the same outfit that you chose, the light costume with the blue face paint. But you have to go around the house and find items for your costume. So you can go into the garage, I think, to find something. I remember it's like super dark or something. And I don't know, a lot of it is framed in a way where it's definitely like a kid's imagination. Like, he imagines it to be super dark and you can only see like 1 or 2 things in it. Or there's that part, I really, really, really like the part where you go into the front yard and then there's like a weird maze in there and you have to crawl through it, like the junk.
Oh I don't. Do you remember that? I got that. I don't remember that like at all.
There's this part, like, you can go outside and there's just like a bunch of trash in like their driveway, but he set it up to be like a maze, and there's a treasure map, so you have to look at the treasure map before you go in and memorize which ways to go, and it's all in his head. So if you go the wrong way, he's like, oh, a dragon got you or something, I don't remember, so you have to start over again until you get to the middle. I'm pretty sure you had to, you just don't remember, because I think it was like something pertinent to the costume that you had to have.
I mean, it probably was, because as you're explaining, I remember little snippets of it, and I know you can use Chris's imagination, where I think you get to confront some of these monsters. Mm-hmm. Because I definitely remember that at one point, if you find your outdoorsy clothes, like your jacket and your shoes and whatnot, you can go out and you can fight a snowman, I think.
Yeah. It's like in that same thing, but the snowman is in the backyard, and the maze is in the frontish yard, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Can you put like a firecracker in the snowman and blow him up? I don't remember. I feel like you can do that.
My God.
I think I did that.
I don't remember that.
You can also like, it's when you're taking the garbage out, because you can like take his empty beer bottles out and put them on a fence and like throw snowballs at them, I think, and like do target practice as Captain Spirit or something. I do remember that.
I remember doing that part. I'm gonna take another shot.
Holy shit.
These are small, right? So it doesn't count.
Yeah, sure. Totally doesn't count. I like have no place to talk. I'm one who gets drunk everywhere. 23-minute mark. You go to wake up your dad after the basketball game, right?
Yeah.
To tell him to take you to the Christmas tree farm because you're a kid and you want a Christmas tree. But he gets really mad at you and starts making a big old ruckus. And at that point, the old lady from next door can hear the ruckus from outside and choose to like come over to the house and confront you about it. I remember she knocks on the door and then she starts like asking you questions, because I assume she already has doubts and like questions about you, because like she's your neighbor, she knows stuff, she's really nosy. Also, neighbors be like that.
I feel like Claire is that very stereotypical like old lady who lives next door, who gets in your business all the time, who will like bring you a casserole and be like, hey, I brought you this nice casserole, now spill all of your personal tea. I feel like that's the type of old lady she is. But at the same time, I thought that before I played Life is Strange 2. So that was kind of my first impression of her. And I think that was almost everybody's first impression of her. That she was the very stereotypical nosy neighbor. And I want to point out that despite the fact that we all probably had the same opinion about her, it's a little bit dangerous, I think, in the sense that inherently, because we got to know Chris and Charles, I think instinctively a lot of people who played the game want to protect him. Especially playing as Chris, I feel like you want to protect your father, despite the fact that he's abusing you, because I feel like the game shows you sympathy, and it makes you empathetic towards Charles and what he's going through. And despite the fact that he is abusing Chris, I feel like there's a part of, I feel like most players who do inherently want to protect him and want to keep Chris and his father together. And I think that's a little bit of a dangerous notion. Because at the same time, I personally completely understand wanting to protect a parent who's like that. But at the same time, it's also not healthy. And so I think the game does a really good job portraying that type of relationship, and I think you as a player get to choose whether or not to say something to Claire. And that's part of one of the endings that you can get for this game, is that you can either protect your father or you can just flat out just tell her.
Especially because, like, you know about the mom, and you can, like, kind of understand what he's going through.
Yeah.
So, it really is a difficult choice once that, I forget her name, Grandma comes
Claire.
to, like, ask you about it. I'm never going to remember. But apparently you can go, like, a bunch of different ways, which I didn't know. I think the one that I personally got was sticking the firecracker into the snowman, and then she hears it and comes over and comments about how it sounds like the 4th of July out there. I'm pretty sure I got that one. And then I played it like 2 other times. You can also like take the recycling out, and she sees the beer bottles and comments on that.
I know for my playthrough, I chose to lie for Charles, and low-key I feel a little bit guilty about that one. But at the same time, I've also kind of been in Chris's shoes, and I think that's also the first snippet you get of the choices that you have to make in Life is Strange 2. Because I feel like the whole game, every choice you make is gonna be morally gray, despite the fact that your protagonists are 9 years old. Sean, I think, is 15, 16? I know it takes place in the younger. Year. He's a teenager.
Oh, maybe he is 16.
Yeah, but either way.
And Daniel is like the same age
as Chris. I think he's 9. Mm-hmm. 8 or 9 years old. But either way, like you are playing a protagonist who's very, very young and who has to make these very morally gray choices. And I think that's not something that life prepares you for, especially if you're a kid. And I think Captain Spirit first introduces you to that concept in the, I don't want to say the lightest way possible, but kind of in the lightest way possible. You know what I mean?
It's like Life is Strange. This series, like 1 and 2 and Before the Storm, like encapsulated in one tiny little episode.
Yeah.
It's like all those, it's just giving you a taste. And like it was free. It was a free game on the PlayStation Store.
Yeah, that's what it was.
I feel like it's definitely just giving people a taste to come in and try and get them into the franchise and get them to buy their other games.
Yeah.
Especially because it is a little bit lighter than other ones. Not to say that it is light, especially with like the child abuse and the mom dying. It's giving you a little bit of a taste of each of the different like series in Life is Strange.
Yeah, I fully agree with that, especially with the fact that there are superpowers, quote unquote, in Captain Spirit, but at the same time there isn't. And I think that's also a good balance between the first. I think it's a good bridge. I think between the first games and then Life is Strange 2 of, hey, there are superpowers, but you were also not playing as Max, as someone who inherently does have superpowers, and you get to control her. So I think it's removing you a little bit from that sense of like, yeah, I'm the superhero protagonist. And I think that was a really good choice, honestly, on the game developers, that you're not the one with the superpowers. But at the same time, you do have a small amount of control. And I think that's a good balance between Sean and Daniel. You get to choose. And then I think that's also expressed with Chris, where your imagination is what gives you superpowers. And it's your imagination to turn on the TV with your Jedi mind powers, while on the other hand you're holding a remote. And
it's also. Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say I think that's kind of what helps make this demo special. Is that you kind of get a little taste of both sides of being a superhero, but also being an ordinary person at the same time. Yeah.
Going off of that, it's also like you said, it's a very good bridge between the two, going from being a superhero as Max to like not in Life is Strange 2, but playing Sean and being like, you're the big brother to this like little kid who is basically a killing machine, but you have to lock that shit down so he doesn't become a psychopath. But it's also a different perspective on like the world as a whole. Like I feel like if they do make a Life is Strange 3, it's just gonna keep expanding this world like more and more, because so far there's only 2 people who have had superpowers as like Max and Daniel. They're in the same universe. They reference Arcadia Bay in Life is Strange 2, so who knows how many other people do have superpowers in this world. And I think they are going to continue on with that in whatever sequels they have lined up next. But that's always one of the like, one of the most interesting things to me about Life is Strange is, like, the superhero aspect of it. I'm just excited for whatever they do next.
Yeah, I fully agree. I think if there is a Life is Strange 3, I think for sure we're going to see another protagonist with a superpower. And I think they're also going to stick with that theme of these people are ordinary people who get swept under the rug type of people. Like, in the first game, it's very obvious that Max is a character who's very socially awkward. She's kind of a person that you would sweep under the rug, that you wouldn't pay attention to. Unlike...
I'd be friends with her.
So would I, honestly. Like, honestly...
She's cool.
I feel like in most games, or in most cases, you'll have a protagonist who's more like Victoria, who's the popular girl, the one that everybody knows type of thing.
A bitch.
Yeah, the bitch, basically. And same with Life is Strange 2 with Daniel. He's not really a character in the real world who would honestly stand out, other than the fact that he's a kid who has a great imagination. I think the game developers did a really good job with developing who these characters were, the ones who have superpowers. They're the weird kids, the awkward ones, the ones who really don't get paid attention to in society. Max being the socially awkward kid who doesn't really make a huge impact on anybody's lives except for like one person's. And then Daniel being a Hispanic kid in the 20th century, that's hella tough as it is. I think that was really something powerful that they did with Life is Strange 2. Which obviously we'll get more into that when that episode comes. I have a lot to say on everything about that game. I think it's really, really well done. I think all of these games are really well done.
Speculating, it seems like their powers are brought out by traumatic events. Like Max seeing Chloe get shot, and then Daniel, big spoilers, seeing their dad get shot. Like, that has to be something in this universe as well, like with those powers being brought out by traumatic events.
Yeah. Which,
very Deadpool of them. I just watched Deadpool. Anyway, after you talk to Claire, there's other stuff you can do. I think you can just run around however you like. It is an open world game. Open world being like the front and backyard, but
open world to a child. Let's just say that.
Yeah. He has a treehouse in the backyard, and you can go up it, and like you can go up it before, I believe, right?
Yeah,
before the end of the game.
I know there's an option where you can find your father's cigarettes or Charles's cigarettes, and you can smoke them. And I think one of the options is that you can go up and you can smoke them in the treehouse.
Yeah.
Don't quote me on that.
That's like during the game, but like once you reach this end game, which I believe, is it like automatically triggered by the grandma? Probably, right?
So no matter what happens, you talk to Claire, and Charles gets mad at you for talking to her. No matter what you do, he will always get mad at you. And he'll blame you for Emily's death, Chris's mother. He'll blame you for her death. And that's the first time you get to see that Charles is not a good man. He's not a good person. He is just straight up abusing his son because he blames her. He blames Chris for Emily's death, and it's not fair. And let me just say that I don't give a fuck who you are. If you abuse your children, there is no excuse for it. I don't care if you're drinking or whatever it is. There's no excuse for that. And so I remember me thinking, during my playthrough, I had talked to Claire and I had lied for Charles. I felt really guilty after that when he got angry and started yelling, and I was thinking, well, hey, I protected you for her. Like, I lied for you, and it felt like a betrayal. And I think that's also part of the consequences of the game wanted to show you that even if you lie for Charles, he doesn't change. Like, he will still be that abusive asshole to his son. And so for me, that kind of struck really hard of saying, wow, that really sucks. And I should have said something. To Claire. I don't know, spoiler again for Life is Strange 2. I know that you can address this with Charles as Sean. But in current...
Can you?
You can, actually. Because during my good playthrough of it, I actually was able to address that issue with Charles. But currently, as Chris in Captain Spirit, you don't really have that option. You just have to let it happen. And that sucks.
After that argument, it eventually drives you like out back to the treehouse. And it's like your regular treehouse, I guess. Never had a treehouse, but
I mean,
there's
I've always wanted a treehouse.
There's planks built into the tree trunk that you can climb up and get into the actual treehouse itself. But one of them is old and eventually breaks when you're climbing up. And, you know, Chris falls, as you do when things break. And he stops right before he hits the ground. And that's kind of like the end of the entire episode when Chris looks up and he sees the two boys from Life is Strange 2, and Daniel obviously like has his hand out catching him.
Actually, he
but
doesn't, though.
He doesn't? No, he doesn't have his hand out?
I very much remember this because after Captain Spirit came out, I was definitely one of those like conspiracy gamers who were like, oh my god, I have to figure out like what do these clues mean? What is it about? Because that moment where Chris falls and he hovers this close off the ground.
Yeah, it's like an inch.
And that was kind of the thought that I had where I was thinking, oh my god, is Chris going to be our protagonist in Life is Strange 2? Does he actually have superpowers? Because this whole game, we've been playing him as Captain Spirit, a boy who thinks he has superpowers, a boy who wants superpowers. And I was thinking, well, since going down the thread of traumatic experiences happen to awaken these powers in our protagonist, is this the event where Chris gets his superpowers? Is that the thing that happens? And so that's kind of what I thought, of course, up until Life is Strange 2, where I realized, oh, the neighbor kids are Daniel and Sean, and Daniel is very clearly the kid with superpowers, and he's the one who stops Chris from face first into the snow and probably injuring himself to no end.
Yeah, because I remember, like, after we played that, I played it with a couple of my other friends. That was just all we were talking about was, like, is it Chris that has the powers? Is it this other kid that we don't know yet? And they left you with, like, 2-3 months of you having to speculate on what was going to happen in Life is Strange 2 because it wasn't out yet.
Yeah.
And that was pretty good of them. That was pretty genius. Yeah. Having everybody in the fandom, I guess, trying to figure out like what exactly was going to happen.
Yeah.
Especially, I don't think they had announced that they were going to release Captain Spirit. Oh my
god,
power's back on.
Back.
It was really funny, just like having those 2 or 3 months between Captain Spirit and then Life is Strange 2, just trying to figure out exactly what was happening. I remember like me and my friends just constantly talking about it, and how like I know we knew it wasn't Chris, but we were debating on which of the other 2 boys it was, like for these like weeks on end, like debating. It was really funny.
I remember when all the theories came out, and I think for myself, I think I automatically assumed it was going to be Sean, just because so far we've had all of our protagonists being teenagers, which technically I wasn't wrong, because I didn't think Chris had, I don't think he had a strong enough story, I think, for for the whole game to be centered around him for Life is Strange 2. I knew he was going to be a side character. And also that much, I'm pretty sure they mentioned in the credits where they said Chris will be back in Life is Strange 2. But I had a feeling he wasn't going to be the protagonist, and I was okay with that. And so I knew it was going to be Sean or Daniel. And I had a really strong feeling that it was going to be Sean, actually, who had the superpowers. And I think that was just because we had gone along the trope of teenagers with superpowers. And I assumed that Sean would be that. He would be the kid with superpowers. But I feel like I should have seen a clearer hint of the fact that Chris was closer to Daniel's age. They are the same age, I think. I think that should have been the one big indicator that Daniel was gonna be the one with superpowers.
Yeah. I feel like that was a lot of debating going on at that time, which one it was going to be.
Yeah.
Because I don't think anybody thought that it was actually Chris who had the powers, which is really sad because he's super cute. Yeah. I think I remember me agreeing with you. Like, I thought it was going to be the older boy. But then when Life is Strange 2 came out and you realize it's Daniel, but you're not playing as him. So it's like, it's extra, like that extra layer is really cool. Especially like going into Life is Strange 2.
Oh yeah, for sure. I remember when the very first, I guess, gameplay trailer came out. They released, I think, the first 20 minutes of gameplay or something like that when they were first releasing Life is Strange 2. And I remember where they actually played the part where, super spoiler alert right here, when Sean and Daniel's father got shot. I remember they played that in the trailer, and I remember thinking that, holy shit, this is so traumatic. And honestly, from that point, I kind of had a really strong feeling that this game was either going to be really good or really bad. Because let's be honest, it's a very, very touchy subject. There's kind of no way around that. You have Latino children who are watching their father get shot, which is a direct correlation to a lot of what's happening in present day events. So for me, I had a very strong feeling this is either going to be a really good game or a really terrible game. And it was a really good game, and I think it was really well done, and I'm really, really happy about that. At the same time, though, it was absolutely heartbreaking, and it tore my soul apart.
Yeah, I didn't know that going in. I think I was playing with two of my friends again. Like, I'm Hispanic, my friend is Hispanic. A lot of my friends are Hispanic, and as playing that, it was a lot. It was a lot to take in at that time. And yeah, definitely Life is Strange does that, though. Life is Strange does that, like, going into these, like, crazy subjects that are, like, definitely pertinent to real life, but in a fantastical way, like, putting the superpowers in, which is, I think is really cool.
Yeah. I think once we actually delve into the episode with Life is Strange 2, there's going to be a lot of conversations, I think, on the parallels between that game and real life, which we'll get into that. So I think we'll just leave it at that. If there's going to be a lot to discuss. So I assume whoever's watching right now, most of you plan on watching our next episode. Just be aware that it's going to touch on a lot of super heavy topics that I believe are super personal to both you and I. So
yeah, Life is Strange is wild.
Yeah, like
that one episode of Life is Strange 2, I was so mad. Anyway, we'll get into that later.
Anyway, I think that ends this episode just because there's not much we can speculate anymore about Captain Spirit without delving too much into Life is Strange 2. So I think we'll leave it there. Marisa, will you take us through our exit, please?
Oh shit! I gotta pour another shot.
I know.
Thank you for watching Cocktails and Controllers. If you want to see our next episode on Life is Strange 2, please like and subscribe and hit that bell notification so you can see when it is up next. And for now, I'll lead us out in our farewell shot, our customary goodbye.
Kanpai.
Kanpai.